There's a pool.
This is our old digs. Our old neighborhood digs. What do you think, everyone? We're gonna show you where our house used to be.
This is a little over a year past the fire. And all the burned remains are gone and people are starting to build again.
You should see if our daisies are still there.
If they came back. Going in the garage. There's lots of fiberglass still.
Be careful, honey.
There's a plant growing in the middle of the house. Some plants. Looks like we got some flowers growing, purple flowers. Go around the neighbor's yard. Here's the back of the house. Here's the poor patio, the brick round patio thing. Sad. Checking to see if Haley's daisies are still here. Nope. Definitely no daisies. What do you think, Aiden?
Hello.
Hi.
So,
Let me get a little closer.
don't bump the toesies. Boy,
Very intimate here.
this is intimate. So, what do you think of this mic?
It's tiny.
Is it gonna bother you?
No.
I like it. Makes me feel very official. Anyways, hello everybody. Thank you for watching our last live. I appreciate all the people that watched and gave me support. Thank you, it means a lot. And I mentioned to you all on the live that we were gonna watch a movie. Each of us was going to watch a movie, each other's favorite, one of our favorite movies, and then give a review. So I didn't tell you what movie it was. Wanted you guys to be surprised. So, without further ado, we're going to get into it. So, honey, what movie did I have you watch?
You had me watch Green Card. This is going to be weird with the microphone passing back and forth.
What was your favorite? Anyhow, can you tell us a little bit about what the movie was about? And what year was it made?
Oh, boy. I forgot already. Was it made in 1989?
I don't know.
1990?
It was in the 90s.
My notes are on my phone. So, it was in the 90s. It's about this French gentleman that wants to come live in America and get his green card. And the woman he marries in order to get the green card she needs to have a spouse so she can get this particular apartment that she wants to rent. She's a gardener, and this apartment has a greenhouse. It's like one of the top level apartments, and it's really fancy, and it has a greenhouse, and she loves plants, and so she wants to get this apartment because it's kind of bougie and upscale, so they require her to have a spouse.
Is she bougie?
She comes from that lifestyle, yes. But she's down to earth. So they get married on this pretense, that, but it's strictly just for him to get his green card. And so after they go to the courthouse and get married, they go their separate ways. Well, then, immigration comes along and wants to ask them some questions. So they have to spend some time together and get to know each other and act like they're a couple. And so he spends a couple days at her apartment, and fun and drama ensues.
What kind of things did they do to get to know each other better?
They, took notes. They asked each other questions. They took notes. They fought. She introduced him to one of her friends by accident. They ran into her in the grocery store. I don't want to give away the whole movie, but it's got a whole romantic element to it, and yeah, it's just the whole comedy of them getting to know each other and be a part of each other's world so they can prove to immigration that their love is real. It's just kind of comical. And never mind.
And honey, what was one of your favorite parts, and what didn't you like about the film?
One of my favorite parts was the part where he shows up to her rich best friends. They're having this like dinner party.
They call it a soiree.
Soiree. And so he's a composer, the French guy, and the lady thinks he's lying about it. She thinks it's a story that he made up as part of their love story. And so they ask him if he would play the piano. And then, the wife is looking all nervous, like, oh my God, what's going to happen? And then he actually goes up to the piano and starts playing. And the first song he plays, he's just like banging on the piano, and the whole premise is like he still is lying about being a composer. But then after that first song, and everybody's all shocked, and all the snooty people are like, and then he plays a song that he composed that's really beautiful and romantic, and he asks like the snooty woman to translate for him what he was saying along with the song.
He was talking in French, right? He was singing it in French?
Yeah, he was singing it in French, and he goes to the snooty woman, Madam, can you translate this for me? And it was lyrics that he wrote having to do with something that his wife told him about her plants and her plant project that she does for the inner city. It was having to do with all that. And so it was like romantic and beautiful. And the song is cool. It's my favorite song of the whole movie. And you just have to watch it and see. It's pretty romantic.
And what was the aspect about the film that bothered you, or you weren't quite sure of, or you didn't like?
There was some classism, but I think that was on purpose. That was for like comedic effect. Mild racism. Racism is never good. It's never okay. But I think it was part of the story. I think it was intentional to show that, that's not a good way of thinking. But I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know. So that would be the only thing.
All in all, though, before I ask this, did you like the acting in it?
I did. I really liked the acting. Andie MacDowell is kind of the same in all her movies, but she's okay. The French guy is a really great actor. I love his acting, I think because of the comedy. He's definitely a comedic actor, but also he can be very heartfelt and dramatic too. He's a French actor, so most of his movies are French movies that I haven't seen, but I think he's a great actor. All the people were good in it. They weren't really well-known actors. One of them was like a soap actress, I think, and she was really good. I liked her. She was one of the people at the rich soiree. And they were all hysterical, the way they acted. It was funny.
Now, can you see aspects of this movie entertaining me, and why?
Yes, there is Haley humor in the movie, definitely. It's not the scenes that you would expect. Like when I Googled funny scenes of Green Card, literally the only scene that comes up that people talk about is the piano scene, because it is pretty comical. But there's one scene that I knew right away that Haley would laugh at, and it's the part where he bought her some plants for her greenhouse as a surprise, like tomato plants, and because he's a chef, he knows how to cook, and so he bought her some tomato plants, and she's totally bummed because he tore up these weeds in order to like plant the tomatoes, and she was so bummed. She's like, "Oh, that's my science project," and she's just it's like a pile of like moss or weeds or something. She's holding it. Oh, and she's like so bummed out. And he's like, "Wait a minute, I was trying to surprise you."
Yep, I think that is one of my favorite parts of that movie. Definitely. So, honey, all in all, what would you rate the film for its genre and its kind of movie?
For being a unique film, I would rate it a 9 out of 10. You don't often see a storyline like that anymore. I know Roger Ebert, I watched one of his reviews of it, and he said it follows kind of like the same formula that's been done in Hollywood. But to me, it's kind of unique. I mean, you don't really see that kind of a storyline too much anymore, that recipe, that formula of a story. But for its uniqueness, I say 9 out of 10. For being a comedy genre, it was funny and cute, but it wasn't the most hysterical movie I've ever seen. It wasn't like Bridesmaids level comedy. And for being a romance, it's mostly a romance film, kind of soapy, and I give it a 9 out of 10 for the romance aspect.
Without giving away the ending.
Yes.
Now, there was one other question I was going to ask you about it, and now it slipped my mind. See, I don't write things down as much as you do. If I think on it later in this episode, I'll come back to it. Sound good?
Sounds good, babe.
So now, tell everyone.
So, I picked for Haley one of my favorite. If you ask me what my favorite movie is, that's a really hard question for me because I like movies. But as a child, young adult, preteen person, my all-time favorite movie, I recommended it for Haley to watch. And babe, what did you think?
Should we say what the film is?
Yes.
The film was Fried Green Tomatoes, which was filmed in 1993. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And I would rate the movie, for me, I'd say either an 8 or a 9 out of 10. It's a good movie. it does deal with a lot of difficult issues that went on, particularly in the 30s, such as racism and segregation in the Ku Klux Klan and things like that. It's based off a novel that was written in 1973, I believe. Sometime in the 70s. But it is a story of friendship, basically. But it's more than friendship, especially in the book. I believe that the two girls were in love. And you can see that love portrayed in the film as well. But they don't really build on that. Because again, this film was done in the 90s and homosexuality wasn't as open.
Especially in Hollywood.
In Hollywood, especially back then. So they didn't really build on that aspect of the movie. But nonetheless, the chemistry between the two women was evident.
Sorry, we had to pause for a brief intermission.
So I was saying they didn't really build on the love affair and the romance between Ruth and Iggy, but you could tell there was definite chemistry there. So I love that, and I love just the acting between the two women. You could feel the emotion behind their eyes, especially Ruth. I saw that in her. So, yeah.
You pulled the sentiment and observations out of my 12-year-old mind. A woman after my own heart. So, can I ask you some questions about the movie?
Yes.
Who was your favorite character and why?
My favorite characters are Iggy and Evelyn. Evelyn is played by Kathy Bates, and Iggy is played by
Mary-Louise Parker.
And I just think she's easy on the eyes, and her acting is terrific. Yeah, I think she's great.
Awesome, I agree. Oh, and one thing we did note that there was a Mary-Louise in both of the movies.
That was, yes.
Mary-Louise in Green Card, I forgot her last name, but she played the short, older apartment lady. Anyway, who was your favorite actor and actress and why? Actor or actress?
Gosh. Well, I think Kathy Bates is stellar in the movie because you can see her character evolve from the beginning of the film to the end of the film. There was a lot of change going on in the women's movement as far as women gaining independence, and you know what I'm trying to say, right, honey?
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciated that you could see that revelation in her, especially in the way she interacted with her husband, and she started doing more things for herself instead of worrying about pleasing her husband, and I thought that was cool. But I really liked, like I said, the acting of Mary-Louise Parker. Yeah, what's your next question, love? actually, first, explain what you have added to your attire.
So, as you could tell, we took a brief break to take care of Adam, the dachshund. Adam, the ever-needy dachshund, but he's cute, and we love him. So, I added these lovely earrings. They are Kambaba Jasper. They're beautiful. One of my favorite stones. All my crystals I had were my favorite, but one of the first ones I had was a Kambaba Jasper stone, and she was really powerful, and I loved her, and I miss her. R.I.P. But yeah, Kambaba Jasper. Aren't they nice? The dangly ones.
They are nice.
And of course, I'm wearing my, what do you call this? EMF protector necklace. Isn't that nice? So that's what I got going on.
I love it.
Thanks. Did you expect I would get dangly earrings?
Yes, because you've had dangly earrings before. I think they look nice on you.
Thank you.
It definitely changes up your look, that's for sure.
Thank you, love. I like to experiment once in a while. So what do you like best about the movie? What's the best thing about the movie that just really stood out to you?
The best thing that I liked about the movie Fried Green Tomatoes was the friendship between Iggy and Ruth. There was more than just friendship between them. All the viewers saw it. And I appreciate that. I wish they built on it further, but that's the 90s in Hollywood, so yeah. And also, I love the friendship between Ninny and Evelyn evolve. I love their bonding and the fact that Evelyn always went to go visit her at the care home. I think it was a care home.
Yeah.
Nursing home type place. And I don't want to spoil the movie, so I won't give away the aspect of their friendship that I like. But I also really like that they talk about fried green tomatoes, the meal. They're delicious. They look delicious, and in the movie, it makes me want to make them. And so yeah, it makes you hungry for fried green tomatoes. Yeah. So also one point about that is the cafe called the Whistle Stop Cafe, which is in Georgia, Juliet, Georgia. It's still open today. And they did film some of their footage at that cafe. And it is called the Whistle Stop Cafe in the movie. So if you're ever in Juliet, Georgia, you should go check out the Whistle Stop Cafe.
I love that you did your research for this. That's bonus points of my favorite movie of all time. My grandmother made good fried green tomatoes. You would have loved them. But yeah, fried green tomatoes are really good. Delicious. And what else was I going to make note of what you were saying? A couple things stood out. That's the problem with this little microphone thing, passing back and forth. You can't interject. But you also can't interrupt, so that's good. Was that your whole point of using the microphone? Oh, Mary-Louise Parker, I totally concur with you. She is one of the best actresses. She was my first celebrity crush. And I love the way they both Mary Stuart Masterson and Mary-Louise Parker, their acting and their chemistry between the two of them was just phenomenal, and it really made the movie. Now in the book, the relationship between the two of them is more of a romantic nature. But like you said, because of Hollywood, they had to, water it down a bit and made it like they were just really close friends. But we all know the truth. So, and I love you picked up on all the things of the movie that I did when I first fell in love with that movie. It's amazing.
So, can you ask me some more questions about the movie? Test my knowledge and memory about it.
I have a few more questions. Did you say your favorite part already?
No, I did not say my favorite part of the movie yet. I would say my favorite part is the food fight between Ruth and Iggy.
Epic.
It's really great. It was most of it, if not all of it, was done improv. Even the dialogue during that scene was improv. So I thought that was really genius and really well done on their part. And I think that's my favorite part. Oh, also my other favorite part is when Ruth goes and collects honey out of a bee's hive in a tree. Iggy.
Sorry.
Iggy. And she literally is covered in bees. And during that scene, it was supposed to be done by a stunt double, but they backed out at the last minute, so the actress that played Iggy had to do it. She volunteered to do it, and it was just phenomenal. She's brave, because no money you would pay me to do that scene. No.
That was one of the scenes that I used to rewind over and over again because I thought it was pretty awesome, but also kind of hot. Here she is doing this brave thing for Ruth, and Ruth's like looking at her like, oh my hero.
She is in such awe of Iggy during that moment, and the way she was just looking at her with surprise and yeah, you could really see how enamored Ruth was.
Definitely. That's awesome. I love that you picked up on the exact same things that I did. And bonus points, that's really hot that you researched some of these scenes and learned these extra little tidbits about it. It's kind of hot. So yeah, that was my favorite part too. And the part where they were drunk, and then Ruth fell down in the pond or the mud or whatever, and then they started splashing water at each other or whatever, and then Iggy gave her a kiss on the cheek. It was a pretty sweet moment.
It was
one of those subtext moments. So another question: could you relate to any of the characters?
Could I relate to any of the characters? No, not so much. I feel like Ruth is a little bit shy, and Iggy's more of a tomboy than I am. Ruth she's smart, and she's very loving and caring, but she's also got a shy, soft side. Now, again, this was supposed to be taking place in the 30s, so, obviously, homosexuality was not, it wasn't really allowed back then. And so I think they were trying to hide that aspect of the story, but also because of Hollywood. But So that could be part of the shyness factor. But I really don't relate to any character in that movie. Sorry to say.
Yeah, I was trying to think of characters that remind me of you, and it's none in particular. Maybe Iggy, maybe, because she's so daring and bold. But that's about it. And what did you think of Yoga Jones being like? I first saw her in Fried Green Tomatoes, and then when I saw her in Orange Is the New Black, I was like, oh, hey, that's what's her name from Fried Green Tomatoes.
She was really good in it. I don't really remember her character too well in it. She wasn't really in it too much. She was more involved in Evelyn's storyline. But yeah, I thought she was great, and I really didn't recognize her. Well, I did recognize her, but more by her voice, less by her appearance. So.
Awesome. Next question. What would you change about the movie, if anything?
I would show the love story evolve more.
Definitely.
That's what I would want to change. Also, it dealt with a lot of painful things going on during that time, such as the Ku Klux Klan and abuse and, marital abuse and African American abuse. And, I know that stuff exists today, but it's just painful to see. It did show a little violence in the movie. I mean, nothing severe, but enough to kind of cringe for me. So those are the aspects of the film that I didn't really like because they were painful to watch.
I would agree. It's definitely heavy on the social issues, but as heavy as the movie is, the book is it goes more into depth and more into the reality of the not only racism and sexism back in the 30s, but also classism. It kind of delved into a lot of the issues faced by the poor communities, as well as the issues faced by black people and gay people. And the relationship between Iggy and Ruth definitely would have been a no-no back then. So, yeah.
I have a question for Angie since she's read the book. How did the people involved in Iggy and Ruth's life handle their relationship beyond friendship in the book? Were they okay with it? Did they know? Was any of that discussed in the book?
Honestly, it's been about 15 years since I read the book. I don't remember, but I remember being very infuriated by a lot of issues that were raised in the book. So, judging from that, I think that their reactions was not good, especially probably Grady, the KKK leader. I think he caused a lot of problems for them. I don't remember what her brother thought about it. I don't know. I really want to read the book again because I don't remember their exact reactions, but I know it definitely wasn't accepted. And they had to kind of sneak and hide it.
Oh, it makes sense. That's sad, though. Do you have any more questions, love, about the movie?
Just two more. What was your favorite song in the movie?
Oh, gosh, I forget the name of it now. It's by Paul Young, but I don't think he was the first singer of the song. Do you know the one I'm thinking about, love?
Was it Don't Go Breaking My Heart?
No, it was not.
Oh. No, I don't know. Do you remember it?
No,
Or you're asking me?
I don't remember the name.
I can't think of it. How does it go?
I can't even think of the tune or the lyrics.
Dun, dun, dun. What was it? Stop in the Name of Love?
No.
No?
Brain fart. Next question.
Sadly, we both brain farted on that one. The musical score is great in that movie. That makes a great movie. If the music's good, the movie's good. It's a huge, and a lot of 80s and 90s movies had the best musical scores ever. Highly undervalued these days.
Yes.
Final question. Are you going to read the book?
Do I ever read books or novels? Not really. So probably not. Especially if it gets more painful as to the social issues. I tried to read a book about this little people family, a true story, that survived the Holocaust, and I couldn't get through the book. I don't even think I got to chapter 3. So, chances are probably not.
Yeah, stuff like that is devastating and definitely not entertaining when you're a part of the affected community or you know someone who's affected by the injustice. And, you know, you have Jewish people in your family. You're Jewish by blood. And so I'm sure that book you read hit a nerve. For sure. You're not the only one, love. It is really hard. Hard to face some of the issues, even though it's really good to educate yourself about what has happened and what is still happening, so you don't make the same mistakes or allow the same things to happen. But in the meantime, those of us who actually give a damn, you know, it hurts us to watch it on the screen or read it in a book or even know about it, you know, because we just want to fix it and then throttle the perpetrators, throttle the oppressors. It's aggravating, it's sad, it's frustrating, it's, yeah, all the things.
You forgot to ask me, what does Tawanda mean?
Oh, yeah.
And Tawanda, to me, was Kathy Bates's, other side to her. She went from this passive, housewife person to, starting a diet and exercising and starting a job selling Mary Kay and basically, not taking crap from people. And she called that other side to her Tawanda. So it's just like the alter ego of Evelyn. The part of her that she didn't allow to be a part of her life because she didn't know she could. She didn't know she was allowed to, feel all those things. Hope I'm explaining that correctly.
You are, and I absolutely love that you caught on to all that in the movie. Bonus points. And I don't often see this side of you, this analytical, let's get into what it's really saying side of you.
It's a rarity. I'm surprised that I retained all this information about the movie. But I did. I was lucky enough to let it all sink in, and you guys should definitely watch Fried Green Tomatoes if you haven't seen it already. Great movie. I'd give it a solid 8 or 9 out of 10. and go make some fried green tomatoes if you have a kitchen of your own.
It's good. It's yummy.
If you don't, find someone who does and ask them to make them for you.
I think I have our next video idea. Make some fried green tomatoes.
Yes.
They're so good.
Yes.
They're quite addicting. Well, I'm glad that we did this, honey. It was really fun. And going back to Green Card, that actually is a pretty interesting movie. Years ago, when you tried to introduce me to it, I don't think I was as into it. But it kept my interest this time around, and it's cool. I think primarily because it's old. It's old now, and so it's kind of fun to look back at the filming styles and the acting styles and kind of like the movie formula of it. And yeah, it's a good movie. It could have had more comedy in it, though. They could have ramped up the comedy aspect. And one more thing I would have changed is that I don't want to spoil the ending. Never mind. But the ending, they could have built up to the ending a little more. That's all I'll say.
Oh, forgot to ask you. Been meaning to ask you. How does this movie, well, both movies, but for yours, Green Card, how does it relate to anything today to you?
It definitely does. It's a little, it kind of gets you thinking, is that what they really ask? These people who marry for a green card, like, do their questions for the couples get that specific? Because I know that, we've been together for 10 plus years, and I think I would get some of those questions wrong. So what it brings the question to mind, what if they were true about it? They did fall in love, and one of the partners wanted to come to America and get their green card and live with their spouse happily ever after, and everything's above board, and they really are in love, they really are a married couple, but they can't answer all the questions correctly. Then what happens? So that's one thing. Like, I don't know half the things the names of the products you use. Like, I don't know that. So yeah, I mean, it's a movie, so I doubt they ask that specific of questions, but it makes you wonder.
And it is too reminiscent of a lot of reality shows they have out today, like Married at First Sight or Love is Blind, things like that. So that's, I think, why I like those reality shows too, is because it kind of reminded me of Green Card. Like, get married first and then live together and know each other later. Will you survive? Will you stay together? So I think that's how it relates to today for me. Now, I don't know how fried green tomatoes will relate to anything today. I mean, the social issues are still there. The prejudice is still there on all aspects.
Mm-hmm.
LGBT prejudice.
Lesbians especially. There's lots of prejudice against lesbians.
Racism, still prevalent today. So, good movies though, all in all.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Lovey, for doing this with me.
Thank you.
You have anything to add?
It's kind of a bummer, this microphone thing, because I think I just forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, like, to add to what you were saying about fried green tomatoes and this LGBTQ issues, it relates to today on all the social justice issues for sure, but especially the whole lesbian aspect of it. You still don't see authentic lesbian relationships in movies, portrayed in movies. Like, most often it has to do with a man involved somehow. There's got to be they got to put a man in there somehow, and or, the couple breaks up and they become straight, or I don't know, whatever. It's just, it still seems taboo in media and movies and TV and everything for two women to be in a deep, authentic, loving relationship together without the interjection of a man. So we have some catching up to do in that respect, as far as lesbian acceptance in all communities. So is there anything else you wanted to add? Mm-hmm. All right. I think this concludes our interview of our favorite movies.
One more thing, actually. One thing I was going to say is let us know if you like these movie reviews, and maybe we'll do it again for a further episode.
Sorry I was being such a klutz.
You're fine. All right, everyone.
Peace and love. Bye.